There's a sentence that gets whispered at almost every kitchen table in the year before retirement. Just one more year. One more year of paychecks, one more year of savings, one more year to feel safe before you finally step off. And it makes sense. You've spent a lifetime being responsible, and the idea of walking away from a steady income feels enormous. So people tell themselves they'll be more comfortable if they just work a little longer. Today, I want to actually run that math with you, calmly, because one more year does something real to your retirement, and it's usually more than people expect. But it also costs something you can't get back. By the end of this, you won't have my opinion on whether you should do it. You'll have a way to answer that question honestly for yourself. No fear, no pressure, just the numbers laid out clearly. Here's the first thing most people miss. When you imagine working one more year, you probably picture one benefit, a little more money in the account. But financially, that extra year quietly pulls 4 different levers at the same time. 1. You save for another year. 2. Your whole balance grows for another year. 3. And this is the one people forget, your money now has to last one fewer year. And 4. Your Social Security benefit can get bigger. 4 levers, all moving in your favor at once. That's why the effect of one more year is bigger than the simple, I'll have a bit more saved picture in your head. Let's walk through each lever, slowly, so you can see which ones actually matter for someone in your situation. Let's start with the most obvious one. Work one more year, and you get one more year of putting money away. You keep contributing to your 401k or your IRA. You likely keep getting the employer match, and if you're 50 or older, you can use the catch-up contribution to weigh even more. So on paper you might add, say, $20,000 or $30,000 in fresh savings, plus the match. That's real money, and it's the lever everyone thinks of first. Here's the honest part. If you've been saving for 30 or 40 years, one more year of contributions is usually the smallest of the 4 levers. It helps, but it's rarely the thing that changes your whole answer. The bigger levers are the ones people don't picture. So let's keep going. The second lever is what your existing money does while you wait. If you work one more year, you typically leave your nest egg invested and untouched for another year. And that whole balance, not just the new contributions, has another year to grow. On a portfolio of, let's say, $700,000, a normal year of growth can be tens of thousands of dollars, entirely separate from anything new you save. Now, I want to be careful here, because markets don't hand you a smooth, guaranteed return. Some years are up, some are down. But over time, giving your money one more year of compounding on a large base is a meaningful lever, often larger than the contributions themselves. And notice something. In that extra year, you're adding to the pile instead of drawing it down. Which brings us to the lever that surprises people the most. This is the one almost nobody pictures, and it's often the biggest of the 4. When you work one more year, your retirement doesn't just start with more money. It also gets 1 year shorter. If you were planning for a 30-year retirement, it's now 29. That sounds small, but think about what it means. Every year of retirement is a year your savings has to pay for. Take one of those years off the end, and the money you do have suddenly has to stretch across a shorter finish line. Financial planners talk about a safe withdrawal rate, the percentage you can pull each year without running out. When your retirement is shorter, that safe percentage gets a little more forgiving. So one more year of work is really a double move. You add to the pot, and you shrink the number of years that pot has to cover, both at once. That's powerful. The 4th lever is Social Security, and it can move in 2 ways. First, your benefit is based on your highest 35 years of earnings. If you're near the end of your career and earning more now than you did decades ago, one more year of work can quietly replace an old, low year or even a 0 in that average, nudging your benefit up. Second, and bigger, is when you claim. For every year you wait to claim past your full retirement age, up to age 70, your benefit grows by about 8%, guaranteed for life. So if working one more year also means you delay claiming by a year, that's a permanent raise on the check that lasts the rest of your life, and it carries to a surviving spouse. That's a lot of value hiding inside one extra year of patience. There are 2 more quiet benefits that don't show up as a number in your account but can matter enormously. The first is health insurance. Medicare doesn't start until age 65. If you're retiring before then, you have to bridge that gap yourself, and private coverage in your early 60s can cost a small fortune. Working one more year often means one more year of employer health coverage, and for someone retiring at, say, 64, A single year can be the difference between an easy bridge to Medicare and an expensive one. Second is pensions. If you're lucky enough to have one, many pensions grow with each additional year of service or a higher final average salary, so one more year can permanently raise that monthly check too. These aren't glamorous, but they're real dollars. Now here's the key insight, and it's the reason one more year punches above its weight. These 4 levers don't just add together, they compound. You're adding new savings, and growing the whole balance, and shortening the retirement, and lifting Social Security, and maybe bridging to Medicare, all in the same 12 months. Each one alone might look modest. Stack them, and the combined effect on the question that actually matters, will my money last, can be dramatic. This is why so many people run the numbers and are genuinely surprised. They expected one more year to help a little. Instead, it moves their plan from feeling shaky to feeling solid. So before you dismiss one more year as barely worth it, or assume it's obviously worth it, you have to see the whole stack together. Let me make it concrete with a real example. Meet Diane and Robert, both 64. They've saved about $700,000 between them. Plan to claim Social Security around their full retirement age, and they're staring at the same question you might be: retire now, or work one more year to 65? On the surface, 1 year doesn't sound like much, but watch the stack. In that extra year, they add another round of savings plus the match. Their balance gets a year of growth on the full $700,000. Retirement shrinks from, say, 30 years to 29. And crucially, they both reach 65, which means they slide straight onto Medicare instead of paying for a year of pricey private coverage. No single piece is huge. Together, they change the answer. So what did that year buy Diane and Robert? Their nest egg is larger, from both new savings and growth. The money has one fewer year to cover. They skipped the most expensive health insurance year of their lives. They walked into retirement with more confidence because now the plan has a cushion instead of a coin flip. When they added it all up, working to 65 didn't just make them a little better off. It moved them from, "we think this probably works," to, "we know this works," comfortably. That's the real payoff of one more year, and it's why the lever is worth taking seriously. But, and this is important, that is not the end of the story. Because one more year isn't free. It has a price, and it's a price that doesn't show up on any account statement. Let's talk honestly about that, because that's the half most videos skip. Here's the part I refuse to leave out. Everything we just described is the financial upside. But one more year of work also costs you one more year, and that's a year of your healthiest, most active remaining time. Money you can earn back. A year in your 60s you cannot. The trips you can take, the energy you have, years where your knees and your health cooperate, those are finite, and they're arguably the most valuable currency you have. So the honest math isn't just, how much money does one more year add? It's how much money does it add, and what am I trading to get it? For some people, the financial lever is so strong that the trade is clearly worth it. For others, they're already secure, and another year of work buys a little more money at the cost of something they can never buy back. Both answers are legitimate. The mistake is only looking at one side. And that brings us to a trap I want you to watch for, because it catches good, careful people all the time. It's called the one more year trap. It works like this. You reach the finish line, and the idea of giving up a paycheck feels scary, so you tell yourself, just one more year to be safe. And that year passes, and you still feel that same fear, so you say it again. Just one more. And again. Careful people can spend 3, 4, 5 extra years working, not because the numbers required it, but because ready never quite felt ready. Here's the tell. If every time you hit your goal you move the goalposts, the thing keeping you working probably isn't math anymore. It's fear. And no amount of money cures that particular fear, because it was never really about the money. Recognizing that is one of the most valuable things you can do before you decide. There's also a simple financial reason one more year can stop being worth it: diminishing returns. If you're behind on savings, that first extra year is enormously powerful because every lever is pulling hard on a plan that needs help. But if you're already well-funded, if your numbers already say you're comfortably on track, the 4th or 5th extra year barely moves anything. You're adding to a pile that's already big enough, shortening a retirement that was already covered, and delaying a life you could already afford to live. Math has essentially done its job. Past that point, working longer isn't buying security anymore because you already had it. It's just buying more at the cost of less life. So part of the answer depends entirely on where you're starting from. which is why the honest response to, should I work one more year, is always, it depends, and here's how to tell. So let's make it practical. When does one more year genuinely matter? It matters a lot if you're behind on savings, because every lever is working hard to close a real gap. It matters a lot if you'd otherwise be forced to claim Social Security early, since one more year of income might let you wait and lock in a bigger check for life. It matters a lot if you're retiring before 65 and need that bridge to Medicare, because a single year of employer coverage can save you a fortune. It matters a lot if the market just dropped right as you were about to retire, because one more year of not selling into a downturn gives your portfolio time to recover. And it matters if a pension grows meaningfully with one more year of service. In any of those cases, that extra year isn't fear. It's a genuinely smart financial move. And when does one more year matter? Very little. You're already funded for the retirement you actually want. When your Social Security and any pension already cover your essential needs, so the portfolio is a cushion, not a lifeline. When your withdrawal math already says you're comfortably on track across a full, normal retirement. And especially when your health, your energy, or your time with the people you love has quietly become the scarce resource, more scarce than money. If that's you, then one more year of work is mostly buying a bigger number you may never need, while spending down the one account that never refills, your time. For people in this situation, the brave, correct move is often to stop and let the plan you already built do its job. Knowing which of these two groups you're in is the whole game. Now, here's something: the retire now or work a full year framing misses. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. There's a middle path, and for a lot of people, it's the best of both. You could work half a year instead of a full one. You could shift to part-time or a lighter role, keeping some income and maybe your health coverage while you claw back time and freedom. Some people coast, staying employed just enough to bridge to Medicare or to a Social Security claiming age, without grinding at full intensity. You understand that one more year is really 4 separate levers. You realize you can capture the ones that matter most to you, the health bridge, say, or one more year of not touching the portfolio, without necessarily working a full-time year. You don't have to accept the whole trade to get most of the benefit. So how do you actually tell whether your one more year is a smart financial move or just fear wearing a sensible costume? Ask yourself one honest question. If a trusted advisor showed you, in black and white, that your numbers already work, would you feel relieved and comfortable stepping away? Or would you immediately look for the next reason to keep going? If the numbers would set you free, then this is a math question, and you should run the math. If you suspect that no number would ever feel like enough, then what you're wrestling with isn't a financial problem, it's an emotional one, and the solution isn't another year of work. It's getting clear on what you actually want your retirement to look like, and giving yourself permission to trust the plan you spent decades building. Both are worth doing. They're different jobs, and it helps to know which one you're actually facing. Here's how to put all of this to work for your own situation. First, get your 4 levers on paper. How much would one more year add in savings and match? Roughly what might another year of growth do on your balance? What does taking 1 year off the length of your retirement do to your withdrawal math? What would one more year do to your Social Security, both the earnings record and, if you delay claiming, the 8% a year of delayed credits? Then add the quiet ones. Does it bridge you to Medicare at 65? And does it lift a pension? Now weigh that whole stack against what the year costs you in health, time, and freedom. You don't need to be an expert to do this. You just need to look at all 4 levers together, honestly, instead of guessing. And if it's a close call, that's often a sign you're already close enough to choose the life you want. So let's bring it together. One more year of work isn't 1 lever, it's 4. More savings, more growth, a shorter retirement to fund, and a bigger Social Security benefit, plus slight wins of a health insurance bridge to 65 and a possible pension bump. Those levers compound, which is why one more year often helps more than people expect. It matters most if you're behind, claiming early, bridging to Medicare, or recovering from a bad market year, and it matters least once you're already funded for the life you want. Watch out for the one more year trap, where fear, not math, keeps moving the goalposts. And remember the middle path: half a year, part-time, or coasting can capture much of the upside for a fraction of the cost. Here's what I'd leave you with. Working one more year is one of the most powerful and most misunderstood moves in all of retirement planning. The money it adds is real, sometimes surprisingly so. But so is the year it takes, and that year is the one thing you can never earn back. The goal was never to die with the biggest possible number. The goal is to buy yourself the retirement you actually want, with enough security to enjoy it and enough time left to live it. So run your 4 levers, weigh them honestly against what the year costs you, and verify your own figures for 2026 at ssa.gov with your plan or with a fee-only advisor before you decide. That's how you answer this calmly instead of out of fear. Run your numbers. Know you're on track. I'm Susan Mitchell, and I'll see you in the next one.